FieldWatch leads the world in online brand protection and compliance monitoring. It scrubs the entire internet looking for any content that could harm your company in order to bring it to your attention for immediate action and remediation. With our powerful platform, your team can immediately address any violations in order to get ahead of regulators and avoid brand risks. To learn more about FieldWatch, log on to momofactor.com and schedule a demo with our team today. Hi everyone, and welcome to MomoTalks, your exclusive podcast for expert insights from key players in the direct selling industry.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of MomoTalks, where we explore the people, trends, and ideas shaping the future of social selling. I'm Jerilyn Taylor, here to guide the conversation and keep the momentum going. Today, I'm thrilled to sit down with Javier Canales, a seasoned leader with deep insight into what it takes to drive innovation and growth in the direct selling industry. Javier, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Jerilyn. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. All right, well, let's dive right in with a quick glimpse into your world. Tell us a bit about who you work with and what you do.
Yep. So I am an independent contractor. I contract right now for about 4 different network marketing companies. I oversee compliance for them domestically and internationally. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot of back and forth, jumping from different clients, different issues, different forms of communication. So it's a lot of juggling within a day.
Yeah, that's a lot of different policies to keep up with. I
Yeah.
applaud you for it. That is amazing. So what does a typical day look like for you? And how do you balance staying in tune with both your team and the field?
That's a good question. So I would say my day usually starts, like I wake up, I check my phone just to make sure there isn't anything that's immediately going to burn the
Yeah,
house down.
any fires.
Yeah, for sure. So, check my check my phone. I'll check for text, chat groups, check some emails to make sure nothing is like super urgent. And then, I'll get out of bed. I'll go do my Beamer session. Shout out Beamer USA. And then from there, I'll just kind of ease into my morning with a little bit of coffee, and then just, it's off to the races after that.
So yeah, you're wearing lots of hats there, putting out fires. Oof,
Yeah.
that's a lot
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's, again, it's, it kind of it varies from day to day, because sometimes like I'll wake up to something that's super pressing, or I was like, hey, just, call me when you wake up or something. So it's,
Mm,
every day is different. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
right. So it's like one of those times where one day you wake up and you have nothing on your phone, and then you're like, what's wrong? So it's
Yeah.
more alarming if you don't have a fire to put out. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the type of person that needs to be doing something all the time. And so to me, being an independent contractor and helping multiple companies, like it's perfect for me because there's always something happening, whether it's small or large, or some training that I've got to do, or some education that I've got to do, or whatever the case is. There's always something happening, especially in this space, and especially with this particular, area
always,
that I oversee. Yeah.
always something going on. So what are some of the most significant changes you've seen in social selling, direct selling, and how have those shaped your approach with compliance and leadership?
Yeah, good question. I'd say there's been a shift to more automation, less emphasis on relationship building. And to me, like I don't know that I get both sides, right? Like technology is advancing, but I've noticed that a lot of leaders that are out there are focusing more on the automation that I mentioned.
Yeah.
And to me, the kind of, it kind of moves away from what this industry is all about, right? I feel like people get into
Mhm.
direct sales because they want to be a part of something bigger than them, right? They want to be a part of
Very
like
true.
the culture, the team, being, connected with a bunch of different people like all over the world, depending on where that company is. And that's why those events are so big, right? Because you can't duplicate that emotion and that excitement at those events, right? So when I see companies and I see leaders putting more emphasis on like the automation, like, there's less contact, there's just less emphasis on me like trying to build a relationship with the people that I'm prospecting, right? Um,
Right.
that's to me like it moves away from what this industry is all about. So the
Direct
changes,
sales.
yeah, exactly. The changes kind of led me to
Yeah.
base more of what I do on who I am as a person, like my character, my personality. So, for the clients that I represent, I emphasize putting compliance at the forefront, and that's usually not where it's at, right? Like a lot of clients that
Mhm.
I've dealt with in the past, like getting me to speak at an event is either like pulling teeth or they're just like, I don't know if compliance is the one topic that we want to touch on. And I've noticed that that's also kind of changed. I think companies are being a little bit more open to that. Um, I emphasize putting compliance, at the forefront because me specifically, I can get the field to be more receptive to what it is that we do in our department. I know there's a lot of people that do what I do, but everybody's different. And my personality when it comes to what we do specifically in policy enforcement, I feel like that's one of the things that I really shine in. So I feel like relationship building is becoming more and more rare. And I focus on providing, technically like a lost art, whether I'm building it with leaders or I'm building it with my clients. So that shift to automation is something that's there, but like I said, I'm trying to hold it off like as much as possible, if you would.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like you want to keep up with the times, you want to advance and adapt with modern technology and AIs and other integrations, but it's also you don't want to lose that human component of everything. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like finding a balance there.
Yeah,
And then the key part in that is going to be educating the field, educating corporate companies, and like how important this is and how at risk you can be if you're not educating in compliance with the technology that's advancing.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want the company to provide the field with as much technology and as much tools that they can use to build a successful business, right? But it's that
Absolutely.
balance
Yeah.
of like not like tapping into to too much of it where you lose that again that personal touch, right? So it's always going to
Personal
be
touch.
like an ongoing, like juggling act. But again, it's the emphasis on automation is to me automation technology. It's always going to be there. But I think the real successful leaders know when too much technology is involved versus not enough personality
Right.
and personal touch. So.
And trying to find that balance. So, with your background, what guidance would you share with companies trying to stay compliant while still supporting field success?
Yeah. Um, so I've been a part of a lot of startups, and the one thing that
Mm,
I will say is that I've noticed that you know the field usually feels this like this need to create their own stuff, right? And so I would
right.
always encourage companies to provide the field with just a ton of material, just so much that the
Approved,
field basically doesn't
regulated.
feel, yeah, they don't feel like they need to create their own stuff, right? And like I said, so many companies come out of the gate, little to no collateral material, like not even a business
Mhm.
card template, and it puts the field in a position where they need to create their own stuff,
Create
right?
their
It's like,
own.
if I'm
Mhm.
going to build this business and I'm going to invest my time and money here, like if you're not going to provide me the field, it's like I'm going to go do it myself, right? So I understand that, and that goes from everything from like flyers to presentation, training videos, etc. What most people don't understand is that stuff that they create, it can technically, it can negatively impact a company's brand,
Right.
right?
Your
You have
brand
to,
protection.
yeah, and that's another aspect of compliance that a lot of people don't see as, they don't think that it's something that we look at. Because these companies, they spend a lot of time and money and effort developing a brand, right? And they don't want it to be messed with. And so when you allow your field to create their own material, their own flyers, their own, images, it's like no matter how well the field is or how much of an expert they claim to be, like let's face it, like some of that stuff is tacky. It doesn't look anything close to what the company
So
should be
risky. Yeah.
providing, you know. And then there's the aspect of like what's being said there, right? Like um, if you're creating a flyer, like are you using non-compliant claims, you know, in your material? Like, are you talking about product benefits? Are you talking about income potential? Like, there's a lot of risk that's involved there, and most companies when they start up, they usually don't have a compliance department at the
Right.
beginning, right? For some reason, and I don't get that. I've always thought like
Start there.
the moment product gets into people's hands, like that's when you need compliance because once they get it, they're going to start sharing it, and you've got to have eyes on what it is they're saying about your product, right? Because it's just that the industry that we work in, right? People once they
Right.
get their hands on stuff, they're going to go out there and share it. So
Yep. Exactly. So, yeah, I think a lot of them just don't understand how the risks they're putting themselves at with in terms of the entire business, financially, structurally, reputation, everything could be completely damaged if you put out the wrong smallest of flyers.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I totally agree. And again, like I said, just sometimes like not even enough, right? So what I like to do is when I'm put in that position, when I've helped companies that start up, you know, we usually get a lot of requests sent to compliance, and it's like, hey, can you approve this flyer? And
right,
if I know that the material that's being provided to me to review that somebody wants an approval on, if I know that it could be used by like the field, I usually recommend allowing the company to like here, I'm going to give this to the marketing department, right? And I'm going to
right.
use this to see like if the marketing department can use this and duplicate it, right? Because this is obviously something that the field wants, right? So it
I
would
mean, it's a
better,
need, right?
yeah, so it'd be better to come from the company and be like, okay, here's what we've created for you. We're going to give this to you, and we're gonna say, okay, instead of you saying that you've created this, we're going to create it for you. We're going to put our official material, our official color
Yep,
scheme, our font family, like all that stuff, so it looks uniform. And then you've got the start of your collateral material library, so it can kind of grow from there.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Everybody needs that approved library to just be able to send out officially stamped and everything. So I
yeah,
think
for
we can
sure.
help with that too on momentum factor side. So there's plenty of tools and resources out there. It's just people need to know about it. So
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
we appreciate the work you're doing and helping spread the word with how important compliance is.
Yeah.
So what challenges do you think companies in the direct sell space that are often overlooked?
Ooh, I would say it's very similar to politics. There's a lot of career politicians. There's a lot of career, executives. I've been in this industry for about 16 years, and I see a lot of recycled executives, and I think that
Yes,
that's kind of it
whole world.
prevents new blood from coming out. And I'd love for companies to, to give somebody an opportunity that maybe has been working for a company for like, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And instead of going out and hiring somebody that doesn't know the culture of what you've built, try hiring from within. And this industry is very specific, right? Like I was a part of a company maybe about 5 or 6 years ago where they were in desperate need of somebody for marketing, and they went out and hired somebody from like I think it was like a bank or something like that for marketing. And I knew, I was like, you know, bless their heart, I know this isn't gonna work. And like maybe 6 months into it, the marketing person that came in was just like, yeah, this isn't for me. It's a completely different beast. Like it's
Yeah,
its own industry, and you got to get familiar with the lingo, and learning about a compensation plan, learning about policies and procedures, all that stuff. And so that does tie into marketing because you got to know what you can and cannot say. But um, yeah, I would say that not giving new blood a chance is definitely something. Another area is something that I've dealt with personally, and direct sales companies love to tie the hands of the compliance department. And that drives me up the wall because if
yeah,
I'm helping a company and you're paying me to do a job, but you're not letting me do my job. Like I'm basically just there, like taking up space, and I'm a face or I'm a puppet, and I don't have a desire to be a part of that. Like it's a facade at that point. And there's times where I've been a part of clients where like the distributors and the sales team have ran the company and they
Mhm. Those
overstep
are the hardest.
they overstep what compliance wants to do, right? Compliance is there to enforce the rules that every individual that's signed up for the business has agreed to, right? And so
Right.
the worst thing you can do in a company is to hire people to do a job and refuse to let them do the job. Like it's just, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and it can become very frustrating. Like I said, I've had to deal with it many times. So, if you
Yeah.
hire somebody to do compliance, coming from a compliance veteran, an expert, I would advise you like trust them to do their job and let them be a part of creating culture there because
Yeah.
compliance can go either way. Like you can either scare the heck out of the field, or you can do what I do, and that's create this culture of like togetherness. It's like, look, I'm here, you're here, right? This is essentially it's like an arranged marriage, right? So why don't we
Absolutely.
figure out
You
like
should
the
work
best,
together.
yeah, why don't we figure out the best way to make this work? Because you're not going anywhere. I don't plan on going anywhere. I need you as much as you need me. So, like, what do we do? How do we find this happy medium to make sure that you can build a successful business, but I'm not being put in a position as a compliance director where there's so much non-compliant material out there where we're just drowning, no matter what kind of technology we have, and no matter how many people we have behind a desk helping in this department. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Stonewalling you is probably not the best route for keeping their company safe. So fully
yeah,
support that.
yeah.
It's one of the reasons it's almost great to work with some of the startups is because they need direction. They don't know what they're doing. So what advice would you give to startup companies or even established companies?
Ooh. I would say be picky on who you hire, put emphasis on character.
Yeah.
I've been in this industry for a while, and I mean, I've worked for some great companies that have hired some really bad people, like some people that have come in and just completely ruined a culture. And I've worked for some tyrants. I've worked for some micromanagement people, and that will ruin morale faster than anything. I've always said like micromanaging is a sign of insecurity and your inability to manage people in a healthy way. So I would encourage companies to, put a lot of emphasis on character, be very picky on who you hire, and also don't be afraid to cut ties with people that don't fit your culture because culture is super, super important in this industry. And
So
I feel
important.
like sometimes it doesn't really get, doesn't get the recognition that it should.
Yep. So with that, so you would say that I think the top thing for any startup and even any current enterprises is prioritizing compliance. And once that's prioritized and they understand all the risks involved, any money loss, just reputation loss, like once that's understood, then you can be a little more picky about who you're going to choose to put in place for your compliance department. And then
Yeah.
within that, trusting them, doing what they say, and not roadblocking them would be the best advice for startup
Yeah.
companies
In a perfect world. I mean,
and established.
there's always like the typical like as a company, like I've always said that, there's certain pillars to a successful company, right? And one of them is don't overpromise and underdeliver. Like that will kill morale like super fast, right? Slow and steady growth is way better than exponential growth like a rocket ship. Like you'll implode like internally. Like you won't be able to sustain orders. You won't have customer service to respond to inquiries. Your
Mhm.
compliance department will get overwhelmed. And I've seen that as well. Like I've been a part of a company maybe like 2 years ago where the CEO was just hell bent on opening like every single country that he could. And their US market was like the base here, right? And it's like, we don't even have everything running smoothly here in the US. Like, why would you want to go
Landing too
open
fast.
another
Yeah.
country? And it's like, well, because it's so common in this industry for these leaders to be like, oh, well, I know this guy that knows this guy that can totally blow things
Mhm.
away in this country, and it's going to generate so much revenue. And it's like, okay, well, and then the companies don't even try to open that country the right way, which is, first you gotta connect with like a legal team there in that country, right? You got to make sure your product is even legal to sell there, right? You got to get your policies and your policy stack, like all that stuff that comes along with it. You got to get
Different. Yeah.
right, because not all portions of a U.S. based policy and procedure is enforceable, country to country, right? So you
Mhm.
got to get that reviewed, and get a policy specific to that country or that market. Get the company registered, get the products registered, figure out if you're going to, open an entity there on the ground. How are you gonna do like logistics, like you do in 3PL? So putting all that stuff and not just relying on like people to like smuggle products into a country
Yeah.
and then worrying about the tax implications later. It's like there's a method to the madness, and a lot of companies don't follow it. So don't grow
Everything.
faster than you should. And then I would say, um, yeah, like I always try to emphasize, when I come on board and I see companies growing, it's like always know who you're doing business with. Like that's why KYC is so important. If you're going to grow and you're going to grow outside of the US, like KYC is huge, right? Because usually a company that you partner with to do your KYC, and that's know your customer, that's background checks, making sure that the people enrolling are not part of like some anti-money laundering list.
Right.
And for some reason, like I've seen that too. Like a lot of companies are afraid to put those gates on, during enrollment. Like, oh, well, we don't want to verify like if the credit card matches like the billing address, and we don't want to do a social security check, and we don't want to, put blocks on if there's duplicate information, like a duplicate social or a duplicate email or a duplicate phone number. It's like, yeah, like I understand you want to get, people in like as fast as possible, but that falls on like your tech team, right? Like that enrollment
Mhm.
process, like you want to get that as smooth as possible, but exposing yourself to additional risk because you want to make it easy for people, like it just doesn't make any sense. So
It's another balance thing, right? Because if
yeah, it
you want
is.
people to check out, if you want to get those sales quickly and fastly, but if you're not locking it up with the proper, ways to get through,
Mhm.
you put yourself at risk for losing more money um, through different fees, and it's
Yeah,
just
I
not
mean,
worth it.
for sure. And one of the things, like, I mean, I remember like my first network marketing company, I was back in like 2009. We had this issue where there was just a bunch of fraud that was taking place, and it was taking place from like Europe somewhere. And it come to find out, like we didn't have any gates on, so that came with like the credit card purchasing, right? So we did need to verify, like, that the billing address matched, and so people were basically getting credit cards and just placing orders,
Oh
having it
my
shipped to other
gosh, what a
people,
mess.
and then, the orders, like the people whose cards were being used, like they were calling in our customer service, which was like a 5 hour hold time. And they're saying, hey, like, I don't even know who you are. I got $1,000 charge on my card. Like, who are you? What's going on? And then we go to check it out, and it's like, the order, the IP address was placed by some dude in Russia, and it was shipped to somebody in like someplace in the United States. And so the person then ends up like charging back that card, right? Well,
Right.
chargeback,
So you lose that
yeah,
money anyway. So
yeah,
follow the necessary procedures the first time, and then you don't
yeah,
have to go back to lose the money or pay any additional. Yeah.
for sure.
So,
And chargebacks impact negatively. They impact your merchant account. And
mhm.
eventually, if the merchant account sees that you're too much of a risk, they're either going to raise the fees associated with transacting online, or they're just going to be like, we can't do business with you. And if you lose your ability to take credit card payments, like what are you going to do? Accept cash or checks, money orders? Like now you're back in like the 80s, and good luck trying to sustain,
You just shot yourself in the foot, basically.
for sure.
So this is our last question. It's going to be on a little bit of a personal note, but what's one leadership lesson that stayed with you throughout your journey and continues to guide your decisions?
Oh, that's easy. That was back in like my first network marketing company, my mentor. who I was basically like, he hired me and I consider my mentor to this day. He taught me not to take things personal. And that was the best bit of advice that I could ever, have heard at that point, because I was just starting out in doing compliance. And
Yeah.
what we do in this role is it's not glamorous, and it's often referred to as like the worst job in network marketing, because we have to tell people that got enrolled in this industry, to be their own boss, that they're not allowed to do certain things. And
Yeah.
that's a big clash there.
That's
So
hard.
when you get these, leaders who are saying, "Oh, I've been doing this longer than you've been alive," it's like, well, that doesn't
Hmm.
mean you get a chance to break policy and you need to turn the other way. And then they question, well, how long have you been doing this? And, and who are you? And it's like, you know, look,
Yeah,
again,
absolutely.
I don't take it personal. I love what I do. And I remind myself that, at the end of the day, if you choose to come and enroll in a business opportunity and you're going to invest your time and your money, but you're going to refuse to not read the rules that you're allowed to practice your business within, that's not on me. Like, that's on you, right? So
That's
again,
their contract rate.
yeah, for sure. And again, like, I get it. Policy is like, sometimes it's a 40, 50-page document. No one's expecting you to read that in one fell swoop, but if you're going to invest time and money, like I said, it's always good to know what rules are in place, what you can and cannot do, so that you don't put yourself in a position where, if you've become a leader and you've built this great income, that you risk putting that, on the table and it be taken away from you because you were non-compliant. So
Well said. Absolutely.
yeah.
Or
So
it
don't
costs the
take things
company more
personal.
money.
Don't take things personal. That would be my lesson for sure. Yeah.
I love that. I needed to hear that today.
Yeah.
I have a 1-year-old and she's a terror, so I try not to take what she does personally.
Yeah.
So just to wrap this up, I wanted you to share a little bit about uh, if you have any recommendations you might have to direct sales companies who might be struggling to find compliance experts. What would you recommend to them, or what would you share with them to help them find the right compliance experts?
Oh, that's super easy. I would say learn from what COVID taught us. COVID taught us that network marketing companies can be successful when your employees are remote. I know a lot of people that have a
Yes.
great deal of compliance experience, but network marketing companies are hell bent on requiring people to be in office. And I mean, first off, nobody comes to a corporate office for a network marketing company and wants to speak to compliance. Like, that's rare, right? And again, technology, I mean, look, we're face to face on the internet, technically. So
Yeah. I mean,
um,
I hope that's not happening. It could be a very bad thing if people are coming just to
yeah, I
to the
mean,
compliance. That means they waited
exactly.
too long, maybe.
I've had to call people into an office to have a meeting that was, less than ideal, but yeah, I would say, look, if you're struggling to find somebody that, has compliance experience, there's a lot of people that have experience, but you just got to be a little bit flexible when it comes to requirements, whether it's opening it up to, more of a hybrid role, or being 100% remote. Like I said, I run at one point, like, I was running compliance for 6 different companies, and I was 100% remote. And the that onus falls on me, right? Like, that's where my
Right.
responsibility comes in, to make sure that
That that ownership.
my time management is on point,
Yeah.
right? So being able to juggle and handle things as they come in. But, I tell my clients, like, I'm available 24/7. Like, I know what this industry entails. I know that stuff happens like after hours, especially
Yeah.
with one of my clients who's, I think they're in 17, 18 different countries. They've got a team
Wow.
like in Europe, they've got some in Africa, they've got some like in Southeast Asia. So it's like it's 24/7. So if I'm at dinner and I get a text message or I get an urgent voice memo, I've got to take it. But again, I'm remote, and that's the one thing that I've always told my clients is that I I learned that. Like I took,
a bad thing, right? Like it's
yeah,
almost a bad thing because you're working the whole time. So that
it
just
is.
means you really care.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I love what I do, and so back to the question, if you're a network marketing company and you're starting up and you're looking for someone to do compliance, like be open to somebody that is remote, because there's a lot of people out there that have experience, and again, I'm free to help too. So if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, you're more than welcome to, and we can have a conversation and kind of go from there.
And you're located in San Diego, is that right? Did I make that up?
I'm in Las Vegas, so
Vegas.
you
Okay,
know, 24-hour industry in a 24-hour city, so it kind of goes hand in
perfect.
hand, right?
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing all your insights today. We really appreciate what you're doing out there and keeping people compliant. And then for all the listeners, thanks for tuning in to Momo Talks. Don't forget to subscribe and follow. We're on all the social media platforms, including YouTube. I am Jerilyn Taylor Passey. Until next time, let's keep the momentum going.
Thanks, Jerilyn.
And that's all we've got for you today. Thanks for listening to Momo Talks, and don't forget to keep up to date with Momentum Factor by logging on to momofactor.com and be on the lookout for our next Momo Talks episode wherever you listen to podcasts.